What's up, everybody? It's Dynasty Samir, Search for Uhuru. You know what? I keep getting messages, emails in regards to, I guess, the problems or the misunderstandings or the run-ins that Africans are having in their respective countries with Nigerians. Now, let me give this disclaimer. I understand that there are some Nigerian coons. I get it. No argument for me. No debate. There are some Nigerian coons. I get it. I know there are some Nigerians that do stupid stuff. Going to Dubai to rob a bank is stupid. So I get it. But before you come at Nigerians with all the fuckery, before you stereotype Nigerians because of a few bad apples, I want you to, no matter what, respect them, African, like you do those white quick Christian missionaries when they come to Africa with Bibles. Like Jomo Kenyatta said. He said when the missionaries came, the missionaries had the Bible and the Africans had the land. The missionaries taught the African how to close his eyes and bow his head. And he woke up, the missionaries had the land and the African had the Bible. But you guys still let these missionaries come in and run wild. You know, I got Africans saying, well, the Nigerians are undercutting our prices and our markets. The Lebanese have been doing that for decades. And not one Lebanese shop gets burnt down. Not one Lebanese gets run out of town. The Indian has been doing the same thing. Only person to kick the Indians out was Idi Amin. But no shops get burned down. But you want to blame the Nigerian. You don't control your own natural resources. You don't control anything. Some stuff you do. But again, until you go after the Lebanese, the Indians, these white missionaries, the Catholic Church molesting children. You know, somebody said, well, Dinas, the Nigerians are kidnapping people. The Nigerians are kidnapping people, Dinas. They run scam. They run scam. They know scam. They run scam. The biggest scam ran on the African was religion. And you guys have no problem keeping that around. You guys have no issue allowing the missionary, the imam, to come in and set up shop. But damn it, you are mad at the Nigerian. Again, is the Nigerian perfect? No. The Nigerian is not perfect. But damn it, until you get rid of, like I said, the Nigerian for some reason is low-hanging fruit. It's low-hanging fruit. But don't force the Nigerian out. But you let the Catholic Church right in. I haven't seen not one Catholic church expelled from the countries that complain the most about Nigerians. Not one. Exactly. Renee Bach. Guys, look up Renee Bach. White lady goes to Uganda. No medical license, not a doctor, is allowed to perform surgery on children. Thank you. The missionaries who come, thank you. The missionaries who come to Africa are anti-Black American. But you guys, for some reason, think that they care about you and think you're special. Thank you, Sir Savon. The damn missionaries that come to Africa are anti-Black American, but you guys allow them to come in, do whatever they want, molest your kids. Don't believe me, there was a case in Kenya. Punch you in the mouth, call you the N-word. Don't believe me, the case of Uganda. You guys allow them to run wild. You guys allow them to run wild. But you want checks and balances when it comes to Nigeria. But the white missionary can run wild and do whatever they want. So you guys leave the Nigerians alone. I think that's in Uganda too, where the white missionary was having the Ugandans drink bleach. This is widespread throughout Africa. But you want to blame South Africa. The white and Indian minority control all the resources, period. But you want to carry out your xenophobia against Nigerians and other non-South Africans. And you have the audacity. People have the audacity to come on here and Afro-explaining on why xenophobia was carried out against the Nigerian and other South Africans. I got people on here, well, man, you just don't understand why there's xenophobia and why, trying to Afro-explain xenophobia. So you treat the Nigerian like you do. You love the Nigerian, even the Nigerian coon, him too. You love the Nigerian coon like you do those white Christian missionaries or Bibles. Just imagine when you see a Nigerian, no matter what he's involved in, that he's a white Christian missionary with a Bible. African. You just imagine. Police brutality, I'll send you a link. You just imagine. You just imagine that, I don't care what the Nigerian is involved in, you treat him like you do those white Christianary missionaries with Bibles. You treat him like a priest from the Catholic Church. You give them that respect. Now, when you start removing the missionaries, you start removing the Catholic Church, you get rid of these other groups of people who are undercutting you, then we can talk about the Nigerians. Then you can talk about the Nigerians. Until then, you leave the Nigerians alone and show them the same respect that you show these Christian missionaries. Period. Police brutality. I'm about to send you the link right now. I just had to come out here and say that. Again, I understand that Nigerians can rub you the wrong way outside of Nigeria. I understand that. But again, the point I'm making, how can you hate the Nigerian more than you do the missionary? You say the Nigerian is undercutting you in the marketplace and selling the same goods that you're selling for cheaper. The Lebanese have been doing that since they first were shipped to West Africa. The Indian has been doing the same thing since they were first shipped to East Africa. But you tolerate it. You say Dynas. Well, the Nigerians are selling dope and they're kidnapping. The missionary comes in and molests your children, gives you bad vaccines, which sterilizes your women. Don't believe me, look it up. You got this Renee Bach woman who's doing illegal surgery on African children, and 100 of them died. And she's back in America now. Thank you. Let the racist Arab run around. I mean, so stop. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to hear this. The Nigerians are undercutting us. When again, Lebanese, Indians, Chinese are undercutting everybody. Nothing is being done. And like I said, I'll say this again, and people will disagree with me. Nigeria is the blackest country, the most African country in all Africa. What do you mean, Dynas? Nigeria has the most billionaires. As far as industries, the majority, just from like steel, oil, natural resources, Nigerian owned. Black owned, Nigerian owned. From my understanding, if a non-Nigerian wants to even come in and do business in Nigeria, they have to partner with the Nigerian, with Africa. That's it. Renee Bach killed over 100 Ugandan babies, and you Africans will have no issue letting these missionaries come in. But damn it, you mad at some Nigerians. Leave them alone. And I tell Black Americans, African Americans, ADOS, whatever you want to call us, the same thing. You're mad at the African immigrant for some reason, which I get. I know a lot of coons come over here. I get it. I know. I know. I know. I know there are a lot of African coons who immigrate to America. I get it. But please don't put the African, I don't care how much coon, I don't care how much of a coon he is. Do not put him in the same category of other minorities who are literally targeting you and killing you. Don't believe me? Look what's going on in LA with Hispanic gangs. Hispanic gangs who have green lighted Black people. Don't believe me? Look it up. But you have the audacity to target the African immigrant. Stop it. Stop it. Not all Black heart, not all. All Nigerians aren't like that. We're not going to stereotype Nigerians. I've been to Nigeria. Like I said, I know there's some coons who immigrated and left to other countries, but nah. Nigeria is very received. I'm Nigerian. I am Nigerian. So Nigeria, out of all the countries in Africa, received me the most. So I'm going to say this, like I tell everybody. If you have not been to Nigeria, you cannot speak ill on Nigeria. Yes, there are some individuals running around the planet who are clowns. I get it. I understand. No disagreement, no argument. But you have to go visit first. Period. Yeah, no, if the Nigerian, you do a crime, you go to jail. I agree. The bad ones, you lock up, you arrest, they face punishment. But this mob mentality that people have against Nigerians, you need to have that same mob mentality for everybody else who is proven and documented have done more to marginalize you than the Nigerian. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right, police brutality. I'm about to send you the link. Police brutality. Check your email. But yeah, I just keep getting these messages and emails and, Nigerians are doing this, Nigerians are doing that. I'm like, look, have you kicked out the Catholic Church yet? Okay, then I don't want to hear it. Police brutality. I just sent you the email. That's all I'm saying. Dinus, tell that to your boy Tariq Nasheed, who's constantly talking grease about Africans as if he has a hatred towards Africans. It's low hanging fruit. That's all. It's low hanging fruit. It's low hanging fruit. Like Tariq said that the HIV issue here in Atlanta is due because of African immigrants. That's bullshit. That's a lie. That is a lie. What's up, man?
Yeah, Daniel Zegmo, how you dey?
Báwo ni?
Báwo ni o? Kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ o? Ẹ
Huh?
káàbọ̀, ẹ káàbọ̀,
Ẹ kú ilé.
ẹ kúlé o.
Hmm.
Ah, this your topic today is really hot too. Yeah, I've been seeing this on many this is something that's been going on for years. This has something that's going on for like since I started knowing stuff growing up, the constant lamestream media propaganda about Nigerians. This has been going on way back, even in the 80s, 70s. It was so much in the 90s, where we have this hate, people hating Nigerians for no reason, saying that we're too this, we're too that. I'm Nigerian, grew up in Lagos, born and bred. Um, did most of my schooling in Lagos, schooled in the north, schooled in the southeast, south. Really moved around the country. My dad, former Navy general, moved around, and yeah, I'm someone that always listens to the news and media and everything, and I see a lot of talk about Nigerians this, Nigerians that, because you have a lamestream media that is Jewish control, because the six main medias are controlled by Jewish people. So they go out and they target a certain group of people that they are bad in the media, so that it's pushed constantly to other people to, oh, because it's not just African Americans that don't really, some African Americans that don't like us. You even have the Africans too that don't like us. Like I remember a time I was talking to a South African in Manchester in the UK. This was like 2011, and the guy knew that I was Nigerian. The guy's attitude changed. He was trying to serve us drinks, me and my friend, and I stepped up to him like, "Yo, man," I gave him the body language like, "Yo, don't try that nonsense. You're supposed to serve me. You're not supposed to treat me bad. Because if I was in your shoes, I wouldn't care if you're South African or whatever. I'll treat you good." Funny enough, most of the African nations that don't like us, I have them as friends here, and I treat them nice.
Mhm.
So I tend to what you can't quench fire with fire. You need to quench fire with water, ice, and everything. That's why I tell people. People should stop all this hate for Nigerians. It's like what your title said. Respect Nigerians like you do to those white Christian missionaries.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's funny that you have people that will come online and say that Nigerians are this, Nigerians are that, Nigerians are this, but you have cracker police officers shooting at people in the US and everybody doesn't,
Mhm.
everybody just keeps quiet. I don't get it. It's still that love for Cracker Zaddy, that love. It's like the last stream he did today, and the sister was like asking, "How are we gonna cope in Africa? This." I'm like, seriously? Wow. For me, apart from the fact that I grew up in Nigeria, I can cope in any African nation.
Mhm.
Even South Africa that is very violent. I know that I will have to be very extra careful because of the xenophobic attack, but I know I can cope there too. But that's the thing, like the hate for Nigerians and also the anti-African hate is crazy. It's like when this whole thing about the Ghana, the whole year of return and people, African Americans coming to Ghana, and it's like as if the hatred for Africa just increased. And funny enough, that the ADOS, or as Mr. Holip said, is more of DEA. The whole ADOS. I don't, that term is something. But the fact is that this ADOS is bringing this anti-African, stuff which I don't understand. Like they shouldn't do it. It's spoiling things. They are saying that the ADOS are the real Pan Africans and the Africans are nothing. It doesn't make sense because you're fighting a battle where this is just a thing. Let me just speak small pidgin English.
Mhm.
Oyibo no go give una money.
Oh, a white man's giving them money.
Oyibo no go give una money. Right, like right now, I'm trying to even file a lawsuit of a job I did for. I worked for a guy, one cracker, and he hasn't paid me yet, and I have to go through the legal system here in Canada to try and get my money back. You see, so the thing is that people should not have this because what is killing us, and this is what is killing us diasporally, is that we have this cracker zaddy savior complex. We want cracker to save us all the time. We don't want to do for self. Like right now, I told myself that, man, right now in Canada, I'm working in a Nigerian warehouse, and the woman really liked the way I worked for her for like 2 weeks, and she's referring me to, if I could work for one of my friends that have a bakery here in Calgary. I said, fine, I could do it. Why, sometimes we need to put that energy in trying to build our own businesses. Because people say, oh, that, if you're working for African companies here, they don't pay you much like you work for white zaddy company. Like, but if we all come together, we can push those businesses up. Many of us, majority of us, don't want to patronize, African businesses. Oh, they say, oh, this is Nigerian store. We don't want to go to Nigerian. So I'm like, why are people saying that? Just come in, have fun. It's free for everybody. We're not just doing it only for Nigerians. We're doing it for everybody, even for crackers daddy to come and have a feel of our whatever. So as your title said, it's very necessary if they're going to respect white Christian missionaries with Bibles that came and took the land and gave us the Bible. Why don't you just respect Nigerians? I think the world will never be complete if we didn't have people from Nigeria, in the map, so because people should understand that before it was named Nigeria, by a woman called Flora Shaw, which was the girlfriend of
So like the
Lord
yeah,
Lugard. Yeah, it was known as Negrita, or it was also known as the Big Sudan, and it was known as it was part of the Negro land. Okay, and the Bright of Biafra and the rest of them, all those kingdoms were there. So, and from what that your former stream you did today, where
mhm.
the guy was saying that the Yoruba kingdom isn't ancient. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah, yeah.
I wish I came in diners and talked to that brother. Like, our people need to go back and read. Like they say, if you want to hide anything from us, you need to put it in a book. There are books. I could even offer to give the brother books to read, showing the different kingdoms that existed even during the time of Egypt, even
Right,
before the time of Egypt, even before White Zaddy or Cracker Zaddy came to colonize us in Africa, kingdoms have existed: the Senegambia, the Gold Coast, the Negro Land. There are maps to show this. I even have videos in my other channel on Black Junction where the person can check. This an Igbo brother really breaking down a lot of stuff of the things. He's trying to rechange our mind of what Krakazade has told us about ourselves. The whole Dane Calloway selling out that fact that he's saying that all African Americans are indigenous to indig- indigenous to America. But we should know that that guy Dane Calloway is being backed up by people, the same thing with Professor Gates and the rest of them. So I would tell people that they should try and respect Nigerians. We are no different from any other people in the world. Geez, you can't put all the wickedness in the world on the people, because
right.
even what's his name, Malcolm X, the late legendary Malcolm X said that this is what will happen with media. I'll say it in my own words, that this lamestream media will make people that have been oppressed the bad guys, and it will make people that are doing the oppressing the good guys. And this is just that's just the case of what is happening to Nigeria. So I would advise people in the chat should stop all this anti-African, anti-Nigerian, all this hate. When Mr. Holip comes on your hangar and he talks, people just go all fiery, attacking. And I won't do this to any other brother in the diaspora. I won't go and say, oh, I hate Jamaicans, oh, I hate African Americans, oh, I hate people from South America that are black as me. I can't do that. I can't be going around, today, everybody, all Nigerians that hate this thing, which is, I don't get it. I still wear my green, white, green. I still wear my traditional dresses. I still, you know, my name is Nigerian from the Igbo tribe. So I write my full name, then they ask me what country I'm from. I say I'm Nigerian. And the way I say it, I'm not hiding. I'm not scared of saying where I'm from. So if you're gonna if you like Krakazadi so much with Bibles, then I think you can also respect us too.
Right.
Because funny enough, Dynas is also Nigerian too, so they're also hating on you.
Yeah.
I was like saying that, can they ask you how you got your Nigerian passport and how they can get it too, so they can be like you. I know if they can even be more than a prince, they can be a king,
Right.
real royalty, and stop all this fighting and all this attack, because all these divisions in between won't solve our problem. That's just the truth. Oh, you hate this person. Oh, that's our problem. We need to unite. Because we have. I've been here and I've seen who the common enemy is. So people should stop all this craziness. Okay. Caroline said that Nigerian men are the hottest dudes in Africa.
Carolyn's husband is Nigerian, I believe.
I hope they will not blow up the chat today.
I think her husband's Nigerian.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's nice.
Her husband's Nigerian, right? Am I wrong? If I'm wrong, sorry, I apologize.
Like I tell people, look, my dad is Nigerian, my mom is Nigerian, my two younger brothers are Nigerian. We can't. We might have lived outside. We're born and brought up in the country. We're living outside of the country to learn from, learn other cultures and learn to meet other people. We're very nice people. We tend to relate to everybody. We're not like some countries that always like to keep to themselves. We are very open-minded. We like to meet people. We're not going to eat you up. We're very knowledgeable. We tend to we tend to upgrade ourselves all the time. We like doing business. We like to work. We like to, you know, we're very easygoing. We're not killing anybody. So that's just the thing.
Okay. Let's see here. Let me see. Black Thought. Yeah, Black Heart. If you want to come on the chat, shoot me an email. You can come on. You're more than welcome to come on. Just shoot me an email. I'll see you the link.
Oh boy.
So yeah, but yeah, man. Again, I just keep getting these messages. Since I'm Nigerian now, I get a lot of messages. I'm like, look, are Nigerians perfect? Absolutely not. Are
They're
there
not.
some bad Nigerians that are causing some problems? Yeah, there's some, but don't generalize the whole group. Don't stereotype the whole group. And at the end of the day, again, like I said, the missionaries are allowed to come in and go and
Yeah.
in and go and come back and come some more and set up churches. And we know that the Christian missionaries, the Islamic imams have done way more to marginalize
Yeah.
Africans than some Nigerians.
Yeah, that's the thing because the fact that people should stop we have a race of people that are causing damage. Way worse damage. It's not us in those elitists causing all the problem. There's a certain race of people that are people always shying away from. Oh, Vic, you don't need to talk about that. But they're the ones causing crazy damage. They're the ones that, you know, cause a lot of problems, destruction, and everything. And people don't want to talk about this. And these are the things I like to talk about because those are the same people that have used their mainstream media to say, "Oh, Nigerians are the worst people on planet Earth. Do not relate with them. Do not talk with them." But people don't want to talk about the 200,000 pound white big elephant in the room.
Right.
They want to talk about the small monkey that is struggling that's struggling for life. So I've gotten a lot of people that say, "Oh, he's Nigerian, don't talk to him." I'm like, fine, the hate is always there, but it doesn't stop me from, it has told me that, look, if people gonna hate you, then I will know who is my true friend, who are my enemies. So yeah, it's a good thing anyway. I'm a very sensitive Nigerian. I can't say I'm proud anyway, but it's not bad being proud anyway. So yeah.
All right, okay, somebody wants me to address the term akata. Listen, all right, I think akata is overly exaggerated the same way African booty scratcher is. We call us Black Americans, we call each other African booty scratchers.
Can imagine.
Like
That's
I
self
just,
hate.
and I just don't. I mean, even like my African friends I had growing up, we never called them African booty scratchers. Same thing with a kata. Every Black American is acting like every African is called them, but they've been called a kata.
Mm.
Again, it's just exaggerated. All right, Africans are not the first. When an African first sees it, the first thing on their mind is not to call us a Kanta. And African, when a Black American sees you, the first thing on his mind is not to call you an African booty scratcher. I'm gonna tell you what happened. I'm gonna tell you, like I said, it's exaggerated. I'm gonna tell you what happened. When the movie Sugar Hill came out, and you had that scene, Wesley Snipes, I think it was his brother, the drug dealer. He was doing a drug deal with the Nigerians. That's when the word really got first introduced, and that was back in I think the early '90s. And they were African booty scratcher. Nobody knew what a damn African booty scratcher. In fact, so when that word, so in Sugar Hill, when Sugar Hill came out, I guarantee you before that, nobody knew what a damn Akanta was.
Oh, okay.
Then you got African booty scratcher. Before Boys in the Hood, no one knew what a damn African booty scratcher was. And if you notice in the movie Boys in the Hood, it was a Black American calling another Black American an African booty scratcher.
Yeah.
So, we just, like I said, it's over exaggerated.
No, the fact is that our people shouldn't be dealing with name calling, like, because if I see a fellow Nigerian, I can't call him yo. I can't call him like in a derogatory name. I like meet him, talk to him. We do it in a very respectable manner. We don't do it in a way that we are degrading ourselves and looking down on ourselves. We don't do that. I think all our brothers in the States and sisters need to understand that, we need to talk to ourselves with respect. Because, Mr. Holy was saying something like that when he was in your chat today, talking in your live stream. And he said that we need to be family, we need to self-respect and not be self-degrading. So um sometimes I think most of our people in the diaspora, because of what Crackazad is doing to them all the time, so they are taking that aggression on people that don't need it. They need to relax. Sometimes don't let them get to you. You know, I
Hey
believe in
guys,
respect
like I said,
and everything.
we have 240 people watching, only 96 likes. Let's hit that like button as you come to the chat room. And Blackheart, I sent you the link, and then the brother from the UK, the Nigerian from the UK, I sent you.
Ah,
And then Monday, I'm gonna send you the link here shortly.
Monday is here.
I don't want the chat too crowded. Hello, somebody on?
Yes, yes, sir. Thanks for letting me on. This is Blackheart.
Oh, go ahead, Blackheart.
Thanks a million for the invitation. All right. Listen, police brutality and search for Uhuru. Do I sound clear to you?
Yeah,
Yeah, you do. You do.
Okay, excellent. Bawa ni Oga.
Bawani.
Say
All right.
Alafia ni.
I'm sorry. Say it again for me.
Say Alafia ni.
Shalafia ni. Okay, that's the response. Does that mean I'm doing okay?
No,
Yeah, you do.
I'm sorry. One more time. Your voice broke up.
Is I'm fine.
All right. I
But
apologize.
no, it's fine. I'm learning too. Say Alafia is how are you?
Okay. Shalafia ni, and the response one more time for me.
Mowadada.
Okay, Mowadada. All right, Selafiani Mowadada. Okay, I'm going to try to remember that. But the thing is, I'm also learning another East African language at this point. So if they run together in my head, forgive me, it's an honest mistake. Charge it to my head and not my heart.
It's all good. I'm learning myself, so sure.
Yeah, well, you learned a lot more Yoruba than I've ever been able to. But then again, you've been to Nigeria, and that's why I'm willing to come on with you to ask how it is that if I want to sort of reconcile with Nigerians, because I do take issues with them, but it's not a hatred. But if I want to reconcile with them, I would like to know from both of you, one, how to do it, and two, which parts of Nigeria are the most open to African Americans. I do understand that Lagos is not like other cities. I'm well aware of that. I don't know what Abuja is like. I don't know what the North is like, but I know it's different. I only know because people told me, but they never go into it. And one of the reasons is that when I've talked with Nigerians before, they've been very silent with me most of the time, just very, very short. But a few times they've been aggressive or borderline aggressive. And I don't get this from other nationalities.
Let me ask you this. Where in Nigeria were they from? Do you know?
Most of them were from Lagos. I've met some from Jos State. from Plateau. I met some from Kano when I was here. See, I'm in Saudi Arabia now. When I was at the Jeddah airport, I met some that were from Kano. They were on their way back. But the ones from Kano were polite
Oh,
but quiet.
were they
The
coming
ones
from? Were they coming for Hajj?
they were no, they were
Hajj
going
is
back from
Hajj.
Umrah. They were going back from Umrah, which is a minor Hajj.
Okay.
Um, and now I'll be the first to admit I don't know what the Muslim imams have done in Nigeria specifically. I am a Muslim and I'm like 200% Orthodox, but I don't really know what the Muslim imams have done for the most part. But what I'm talking about is for me as someone who believes that Pan-Africanism is a necessity, a survival necessity for Black folks, even outside of Africa. I don't want to walk around with this grudge with Nigerians and be unfair to them. But by the same token, I still need to ask. In order to do that, I need to know how do you get around what I couldn't get around and police brutality. I want your input too because you're from there, and I'd like to know how the cities differ and which ones are the most open and the most accepting of African Americans or just other Africans in general. Because when I've met them, I admit I'm pale. My hair used to be straight back when I had hair, but now it's like when I meet only Nigerians, do they want to argue about my blackness with me? No other nationality wants to do that except a few North Africans, and frankly, I don't give a rat's behind. But from Nigerians, and most of them were from Lagos, they want to argue. They want to argue with me. Some of them insulted my daughter about it. So I don't. I could just walk around swinging on them every time I see them, but I don't want to be that way and then say I'm a Pan Africanist.
You want to take that police brutality? I put it like this, brother. My experience in Nigeria, again, there are some coons that I guess give that aren't a good look for Nigeria and do a bad job representing Nigeria. But again, when you're in Nigeria, hold on. Can you guys press one if you can hear me? That might be you. Press one if you can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Hello? Can you guys hear me?
You sound great to me.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm sure everybody to respond. Okay. Like I said, then don't allow the bad apples. I mean, don't allow the bad apples you met in Saudi Arabia to put a bad taste in your mouth in regards to Nigerians in Nigeria.
Well, the aggressive ones I met were not in Saudi Arabia. The ones I met in Saudi they were polite but very quiet. That's all. But the aggressive ones I met, they were in the U.S. before I left the U.S. to come here and work.
Okay. Like I said, I've met great Nigerians in the U.S. and I've ran into a couple bad ones. So, but again, on the continent is completely different. I haven't had any issues. They've been the most receiving.
Okay. Does it vary from region to region for you?
Out of all the African countries I've been to, outside of, I would say, Senegal, the Nigerians have been absolutely, I mean, I'm Nigerian. So that should tell you enough. I mean, that should tell you right there.
Okay. Well, you know what? Last question I want to ask you was, did it seem to make a difference once you're inside the country? Did it seem to be different based on region, or was it pretty evenly spread out?
Well, see, I primarily hang out in Yoruba land. Well, that's my home, Yoruba land. So I haven't been anywhere else. But I know Wodi Maya, he went to Abuja and he absolutely loves it. But I'm pretty much in between Lagos to my kingdom, which is Oruro. So Lagos is in Lagos State. Then the next state over is Ogun State. Then you have Oyo State. Then you have my state, Osun State. So I've only been, which is primarily Southwest, which is all Yoruba land. So that's where I've been, and I haven't had any issues.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the fact that because Egbon Dinas is from the Yoruba land, and he's a prince, so he's apart from that he's more respected in the southeast. He's from Osun State because he's among the OO states: Lagos, Ogun, Oyo, and Osun. So those are the Yoruba states. So this is what I think for me as a Nigerian. This is what I think that is going on.
Yes, sir.
What I found out is that when Nigerians come and they stay so long abroad, this system, this Western system tends to affect them a lot. Why do I say such? I've lived in Ghana, I've lived in the UK, I'm in Canada now. And I always notice it too. Like in Canada here, with the Nigerians here, the ones that have been here for so long, they've allowed this westernized system to destroy their mind. So they think that they are now equal with crackers zaddy. So that's why you have all this backlash, especially in the state. I've noticed that in the state, 'cause a lot of people complain about the Nigerians in the state, especially those that have been there for long, like 10 years, 11 years, 30 years. They have allowed this system, this Western system, to influence them. They don't have control over their families or their children. Their children insult them, unlike, those of us that grew up in continental Nigeria. So that's another backlash. That's why you're receiving all this backlash, bro. Because I also noticed that too, because I tend to see myself different. I'm like, why are these guys behaving like this? Because some say because they've been here for too long. So that's why they're misbehaving. I see it as misbehaving. So, but for us that grew up in the continent, for me that grew up in Nigeria, like born, bred, everything, it's like Lagos is like home. I was born in Lagos. Lagos is like home to me. Living in Lagos, like living in New York, busy, 30 million people. I went to schools in the ghettos and schools in the rich areas. So I know a lot about people. I really moved around. So for me, my mentality is different when I meet people. Even if I'm in the West now, I've traveled around, but the fact is that it has to do with individualism, like individuals. You meet some individuals that are crazy in the head. You meet some people that are very cool. Here in Canada, I've met a lot of, Black Canadians of Jamaican origin. I meet them, Haitians, a lot of them here, and I talk to them and we relate. And it's not until they ask me where I'm from, I tell them I'm Nigerian. They're like, whoa, I didn't tell them like I'm so calm, very cool. I don't behave like House of Nigerians. I say, well, it's based on individual mindset. I have a different mindset. I grew up, you know, watching a lot of African American shows in Nigeria. So that is why I could relate to people in the West more than them here. Some of these guys just came from Nigeria fresh from the boat. They didn't really have that connection with African Americans when they were in Nigeria, watching their shows, getting to know them, listening to their stand-up comedy. Like my best comedian, African American comedian, is Paul Mooney. You know Paul Mooney, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he's from my state. Yeah, yeah,
He's my
he's from
best
Louisiana
African
too.
American because his comedy it tends to teach you. The guy he's very funny, but he drops a lot of information. The same to Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby shows different world, and his Bill Cosby show were very, very, um, how do I put it, noticed in my family because we used to watch it every Thursday, reruns all the time because we watch a lot of, back in the day, a lot of Nigerian channels were showing a lot of African American um, content. And so Bill Cosby's content didn't just streamline with America, it was something that was global. So most of people I know didn't really watch, didn't have that connection with a lot of African American movies that they had to watch and stuff like that. Even though we know that all these stuffs were all Jewish controlled, but the fact is that for me, I saw the positive aspect of it. I never dwelled on the negative. It's like the time when Snoop Dogg came to Nigeria and he sang. Um, it, we all waited for the guy in the airport, received him, and he was like really shocked because they had told him that in Africa they won't treat you well. But he came to Nigeria, he came to the Murtala Mohammed airport, and the way he was treated, he was shocked because he never thought about it. Okay, so the thing is that the states that will accept the more, all right. Lagos is one. Lagos is not that rowdy. Because Lagos is like a no man's land. If you ask Diana, he'll tell you the same thing. Lagos is like a no man's land where anybody can, make it.
No, let me say this about Lagos. For Lagos to be a city or state or whatever, 22 million people, it's not that
Okay.
like Lagos is not that bad. Like you will be shocked. Like I was thinking I was going to be smothered. Now traffic isn't the best. There are some
Yeah.
infrastructure issues, but outside of that, like Lagos for a city of 22 million people is not that bad. Like it's fine. Like I love Lagos.
Yeah, and the fact that the city always undergoes construction all the time, because when you have a lot of population like that, and you have because let's take for instance the Murtala Mohammed Airport takes in like 10 million people almost every day.
Now that airport,
Fly,
I can't wait to open up the new terminal because
Whoa. I'm
that's
you
sorry.
right.
know.
I'm only interrupting to make sure I heard you correctly. Did you say
No, yeah,
22
yeah.
million people live
No,
in Lagos?
22 million.
yeah,
And did you say that
it's
it's 10 million people to go to the airport a day?
Not a
yeah.
day. Nah. 10 million people don't.
Word.
Nah. 10 million people don't go to the airport a day.
No,
Okay, I didn't know if you
but
said 10 or 2. I wasn't sure. I was checking.
But
I thought my microphone was failing me.
Lagos is the largest city in Africa. Outside of Cairo. Is Lagos bigger than Cairo? Yeah, Lagos is bigger than Cairo.
I know that
It is now.
Lagos, Cairo, Nairobi. Nairobi is another very populated city too in Kenya. Accra.
Hold on, real quick, guys. Hit that like button. We have 246 people watching. Only 122 likes. Please hit that like button. If you're not super chatting, the least you can do is hit the like button.
I think
Already
for
done, blood.
Like I said, for a city of 22 million people, like Lagos is like, I mean, like I said, you might have a little traffic, which is mainly infrastructure issues that
yeah,
that
and
they're
the fact
working
that
on.
yeah,
But outside of that, Lagos is a great. I love Lagos. Like I love Lagos.
another place that the brother can try is also Abuja. Abuja is a very is also a nice place, because that's the federal capital territory where all the governors, all the presidency, senate, where they live. So that's another good place to try, and it's at the center of the country, bound by around northern and middle belt states. So that's another good place to do. Then for the south areas, I think Port Harcourt and Uyo in Akwa Ibom is also very good too. Um, I would advise that when you are in Nigeria, you tend to go to the places where it's Abuja is also good. Port Harcourt is good. You can move around in the south, because I've been to Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. So yeah, Abuja
Okay.
was the airport. I was there, and but that was in the 90s. I've more like my dad lives in Abuja. He stays in Abuja. My mom stays in Lagos. They have a property in Abuja, so my dad travels from Abuja to Lagos, Lagos to Abuja. My mom travels from Abuja to Lagos. Those are their two places, and those are the two, because one is a former capital, and the other is a current capital city of Nigeria. But at the same time, you could travel, in other states like in the states, like there's in the southeast we have Ogun, Oyo, then we have in the
Hey,
south and the other places too.
Hey, what's up? What's up, Monday?
hanging, man. What's going on, man? I like your program, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I've been waiting for you to really drop this post for real, man. When I seen that, I was like, fuck that. I have to super chat this shit. How's it going, man?
Everything's going good.
Hey, greetings to everybody in the house, man.
Hey, Monday, how you doing?
And I do. How about you now?
We just there.
Correct, man. That's it. So, yeah.
Was that pigeon?
According to the topic, can I go ahead and
That's pigeon.
My goodness, that sounds a lot like Jamaican English. Now I'm not an expert, but I can tell some of the grammar was similar. So that means that they were keeping some of the grammar when they got kidnapped and drug over to the island. I could pick up on the similarities in grammar. I said, "Oh my God, this sounds so familiar."
Yeah, definitely.
So the next time somebody tells me the Jamaicans ain't Africans, I'm gonna slap them.
Go ahead, Monday. Yeah, go ahead, Monday.
Yeah, I have based on my own experience, like you, Dinus, now you can really understand me in two ways because you have been to Nigeria, especially Lagos, where I was born and raised. You know how the average Lagos man can think. You know, you just imagine that kind of average Lagos man who is coming to America with the mentality of knowing that you are his brother, and he got over here, and the people down here don't accept him, and he end up being defensive. That's what we are when we get to the West. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like when I was in Nigeria, when I was coming down to America, I know for a fact you guys are my family. Everybody in Nigeria knows that. Only a person who's not born and raised in Nigeria that's gonna see a black man from America and look at him like an alien or from somewhere. Because we know you guys are part of us. Like me, 50 Cent was my role model. I love 50 Cent to the point where people be like, "Oh, you look like 50 Cent." You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of black influence in Nigeria, and I know that as you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and the local Africans, especially the Ghanaian Africans, they have one problem, which is when they had a problem. I think that was in 1970 when they influxed our country due to the problem they have in their country. We welcomed them. We brought them home. You know what I'm saying? We treated them like brothers, not until they start acting crazy and the government had enough of them. You know, so up to this day, they have that animosity towards every Nigerian because you know what I'm talking about, Diana, because you have been to Lagos. You know the average mindset of a Lagosian. That's how I am when I got here. But now I'm a total different person from who I was when I was still in Nigeria. You know,
let me play. Let me put on my Black American hat real quick. Now, okay. So, and I brought this up before. Hey, what's up, Mike? And I brought this up. I brought this up before. It's just for some reason the only pushback primarily comes from Nigerians, like Senegalese, Gambians. The Senegalese Gambians in Senegal and Gambia are exactly the same like they are here in America. Same thing with a lot of Ghanaians. You do get some Kenyan coons. Kenyans kind of flip the script. But I just think, I don't know if it's because we are more than likely to come in contact with a Nigerian or what, but it's just is the issue at times as far as the being on hospital and being very confrontative and aggressive. It's for some reason the Nigerian, and not these other groups.
Yes, like
when it comes down to that, I'm going to admit to it. On average, especially in Lagosian, because you know in Lagos we have to deal with too many tribalism, man. I grew up having to defend myself every blessed day, so I'm definitely going to be aggressive when it comes down to that issue. But that doesn't mean that I have an animosity towards anybody. It depends on how I feel or how a person makes me feel. You know what I'm saying? Like I have this lady who she just talked to me probably 20 minutes ago or 30 minutes ago. You know, she's from the United States. She told me, why is it that I find it so hard to love a Ghanaian man, but I'm so much in love with a Nigerian man? I said, it's not.
oh shit. Okay.
About
This is war here, man.
Our is different. We are genetically similar, but the mentality is different. You know, and a woman tends to respect a man who know his duty as a man. A woman will never love a man who try to make it seem like, oh, I'm the head. You know, so I thought that's just the difference. Most Nigerian men are ready to feel like they're kings, especially the Igbo people. Like me, I don't feel like anybody's greater than me on the planet. I feel like I'm
Hey, see, Monday, you be coming with that tribalism stuff, man. Come on. You can never come on a chat without being tribal. I mean, come on, Monday. We are all Nigerian.
I just don't blame me, man. You know, this is what they've programmed. I've been programmed like this all along. I'm just learning to, you know, stop that tribalistic state, but it's something that is already.
Hey,
You know
Dennis,
Go ahead. Oh,
you know
Mike,
what's
go ahead, Mike. You good, bro?
yeah, I just want to ask this guy a question, man. He's
Hey, Mike, Mike, you're real low.
Oh, really? Yeah, I
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
see you guys are. I don't know why, man, but I think it's the same thing. I'm not hearing you guys very well. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my. I don't know what to do, man. I'm using an iPhone, but somehow you guys are kind of low to me as well, So I don't know if there's something I need to do.
I think you need to use your earphone. Use your earphone.
You got an earpiece, Mike?
I'm not sure if it's still working, man. Hold on, let me see if I still have it.
Use your earpiece.
I'll be back. Yeah.
All right. Like I want to say something here. Like seriously, this is all right. Look, where do I start now? Okay. The thing about as Monday said, why the woman like Nigerian men compared to to the Ghanaian men. I'm not taking a bash on Ghanaians anyway. It's just that even with the because we're playing the African Cup of Nations, and Nigeria won their game against Guinea. And I was watching this online on a Ghanaian TV online, and the Ghanaians were just taking side shots at us all the time, and I was just laughing because this Ghana is like a second country to me. My dad was sent to a military training to Ghana. He was teaching Ghanaian officers, so Ghana is like my second country after Nigeria in the continent. So it's funny because these guys always like to take shot on us, although we are the ones that try to develop their Gollywood industry or Ghana in movie industry through the Nollywood, and most of their Ghanaian actors took limelight as soon as they acted with most of our Nigerian actors. And the fact is that Ghana took we collaborated with them and it collaborated with us, and that's how they were able to pick up even through their entertainment industry and their music and whatever industry. So I don't understand why, we understand that in the 1970s when they came to Nigeria, and the fact that we gave them the whole Ghana must go treatment, which I feel bad for them, but they still hold that animosity against them all the time. Even in soccer, when we play, it's like it's hell. It's like two fighting. It becomes too physical, And funny enough, if we look at it, if we go back to history, the whole West African continent, when it was on kingdoms, we all moved around, migrated, and interrelated. So all these boundaries are just causing all these divisions that we don't understand. And the fact is that you also have East African women saying that they would prefer to marry a Nigerian than to their men because their men treat them badly. I won't blame them because that's most of the cases there. Like they say that the Nigerian person treat them nicely. But you see, that thing has a backlash. So you have all these East African men saying that, oh, Nigerian men are horrible, this, that, because they're taking over our women. That's what even the South African men are saying that. South African men are saying that our Nigerian men are taking over their women because we treat their women nicely.
Yeah, and funny enough, when I went to Accra, that was I forgot when was that one. I think 2008. I was in Accra. Man, the women love once I open my mouth, they're gonna keep fighting. And this is what I have. Once I speak, all the women they love me, but the men have this inferiority complex compared to Nigeria. So I don't think that the Ghanaian women love hate Nigerian men. I think that the men are very, very, very inferior about themselves. So hating on Nigeria.
Let's do that. I would rather I would love for a Ghanaian to come up. We can't, I like these people. We can't just,
It will be war here.
We just can't be going after our Ghanaian brothers and sisters, and there's no Ghanaian on the line. We can't. But go ahead. Hey, is Mike back yet? Mike, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, man. But
we hear you now. We hear you now. Go ahead.
I can find a help, so I was trying to use maybe the other phone I have. trying to see maybe he might maybe I come on board on a different phone.
No, just oh, okay.
Yeah, so well, can you guys hear me though? Like,
somebody's echoing real. Somebody's echoing real bad. But go ahead.
So my voice is very low, basically, right?
It sounds better, but let me see something. Somebody's echoing. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So basically, like, I was gonna ask, bro, man, that evil brother, man, like, did like your parents, or maybe how did the Biafran war affect like maybe your family? You know, maybe was your dad like in the Biafran army? Did he fight in the war, or did you lose like a relative, or I mean, hold on, let me ask, what state in Igbo land are you from?
Which brother are you asking?
No, the brother that keep always get into tribal stuff, you know, the brother in the blue. You know?
Oh, Monday. Yeah, he's at
Monday.
That's Monday. Monday is the tribalist. So I had to mute him because Monday, your phone, I don't know if you have the earpiece, but your phone is echoing. Monday. So, but let me unmute him. But yeah, Monday is definitely the tribalist. But hold on, let me try to unmute.
I'm trying to learn something from him. That's why I'm asking. It's not like I'm against his tribal knowledge or anything.
I'm trying to unmute him because his phone is Monday. Try to unmute yourself.
I think he's muted already. I think.
Well, I muted him.
Oh, okay.
But I can't. I'm trying to unmute him. Okay, go ahead, Monday. Oh, damn, you just unmuted. Hold on 1 second. Okay, go ahead, Monday. You're muted. Go ahead.
So you can hear me now, right?
I hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, brother, what you trying to ask?
No. There's some research I've been doing, and there's something I'm learning about. Nigeria's a useless country now. They don't teach us. I mean, Nigeria's not a useless country, but in terms of our government, like in school, they don't teach us history. You know what I'm saying, right?
Right. Are you a Nigerian?
I'm a Nigerian. I'm a Yoruba man.
Correct. So, which side are you from?
I grew up in Lagos, but my mother is from Oyo State, so
Okay. Okay. Ask your question, brother.
Yes. So there's something I'm trying to find out. Like during the Biafran War, right?
Okay.
Igbo land, you guys have 5 eastern states, right? You have Anambra, you have Enugu, you have Imo, you have Abia, and what's the fifth one? I think that's Ebonyi, right? Ebonyi State, right?
Okay.
So what I noticed is that the Igbo suffered the most casualty in the Biafran War. You guys lost like 2 million people, right?
Right.
And I noticed that during the war, the southern part of Igbo land that was mostly affected, like I think Imo and Enugu.
Okay.
And what I noticed, like when I meet a lot of Igbos, that seems to have a lot of animosity towards like Yorubas and and when I ask them where they're from, they're typically from that part of Igbo land where the war was really more devastated, very devastated, you know. That's why I asked you what part of Igbo land, which
okay.
Part of Igbo
Okay.
land. So
hold on.
Hold on. A lot of Yorubas always accuse Igbos of being so having so much animosity towards them, and I noticed me growing up in Lagos, I grew up around everybody, Igbos, everybody.
Right.
And most of my friends are Igbos. But I always noticed that the ones that are from part where the war didn't really affect them much, their attitude is they're less tribalistic, you know. So that's why I was asking you what part of Igbo land are you from? You know?
Okay. Let me come to you now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
I'm multi-tribal. I'm from Cross River State. My dad is Cross River, and my mama from Abia State. So I'm multi-tribal. So I just along with the Igbo man because all of us are the same thing. You know, I'm cut out from the light of Biafra, so I'm concerned. I consider myself an Igbo man. You know, so
you know in Nigeria, you got to be from where your father is from, man.
you know, see, brother, when it comes down to Nigeria, you and I know say Nigerian people they know they on code. Whatever run through your body, what you are, brother. My mother blood is 50% in my vein. My father blood is 50%. So which one I won't claim? Naturally, I not have states in the fatherland, which is
you know very well. You know very well. You know very well.
Yes.
And you and I know Igbo people. The Igbo people, if you go to Igbo land, they will not accept you as an Igbo man.
Look, yeah.
If you say you're from Igbo, you know
Okay,
that.
see that.
Igbo land.
I'm sorry, sir. That's exactly what I came on to ask you about. But I think I got my answer.
Igbo man.
Hold on. What do you mean you got your answer? What happened, Black?
Well, I'm guessing that the reason why I've run into this type of aggression that I've run into, and my daughter did too, is not because of our appearance, but rather just because this is how they talk.
Oh,
apparently the whole time I was going through this aggression with them, it must have been a joke, because I see these guys, they're teasing each other. I don't think they seriously hate each other. I think they're joking. But apparently, but that's exactly what it sounded like for me and my daughter. Right. It seems like y'all were joking.
Yeah.
So apparently the whole time, you see, the whole time I was going through this. Oh, and the other thing too, what I just now realized was that the ones I was talking to, I'm not going to say which tribe because y'all already know, but they were from the same tribe. Most of the ones I was talking to, they would try to argue with me about my origin, whether I'm not, I'm even from the continent. Yeah. They, one tribe, and they would. Now I'm realizing that this is just the way they talk. That's it.
No, brother. Wait, brother.
That's a very big problem in Nigeria, for real.
Yeah, I want to say one thing is like for the African American brother, the thing is that like I say, our people have been so long in the Western hemisphere, like in America, they've been so much in the Western system, and they're asking you, you're not from the continent, this and that. Those people need to do research. Those people don't. They need to. There's a lot of research that's out there. People need to do. So you're like, I talk to people. Like for me, I like to read. I like to study. I didn't know that there was something called the Igbo landing that happened in Georgia back in the day. Till that was in 2016, 2017. So our people need to do a lot of research and study, because you get, and that's the thing, like I don't go around saying things I don't know nothing about. So,
let me just respond real fast. Let me say one thing real fast.
Make I answer you real quick.
Okay.
You say you ask me a question, so I will try to explain to you. Say me, I see Igbo man like myself. I see Cross River people like myself. I don't feel hate Igbo man like Cross River people. It not gonna happen because that's what I do, So when it comes down to that Nigerian Biafran war, my grandfather, he's from Cross River State. He participated in that war. My grandmother, grandfather, all of them fight those Biafran war. We fought against Yoruba, British, and Hausa. So Igbo people and every other Southeast people, they are big time in casualty because we resisted that that British and this unity between that system. We wanted out. All of us wanted out.
Okay, before I ask you a question, this question, man, let me first, Dennis, let me first apologize to my Black American brother and also to Dennis. And I want you guys to understand something that why we are discussing this is it has to do with history.
Hey, Monday, do me a favor. Mute yourself, Monday, because it's
okay.
Yeah,
it's the your echo. Go ahead, Mike.
It has to do with history, and it goes back to what this other brother was saying earlier. How Europeans, things that they've done, like during the 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s, Europeans created a lot of artificial civil wars in Africa, and that's what led to us talking the way we were talking about tribal. It's not like we tribalists or we don't get along or we don't like each other, anything like that. No. There were things that happened in recent years. A lot of Holocaust happened in Africa. That's why we tend to get into those kind of politics. It's not like we hate each other or anything. It's not like we Nigerians we run into each other and we fight. Or it's not like me and this brother we see each other and we no. That's not the case. That's things that happen in Africa that we, the young generation, need to learn from. We need to learn from. And unfortunately, our governments in Africa, the Europeans, they kind of like influence them in a way where they colluding with them in a way. Because what the Europeans, the original purpose why they created those situations in the past was to divide the people. There's something called divide and conquer, and they know that once we have these Africans divided, we can always come in to get whatever we want, you know. So things happened in the past that Africans haven't learned from, and many of us didn't even know what really happened. You
Yeah,
know, the question I'm about to ask this brother right now, in his mind, the war that happened in Nigeria, in the mind of many young Nigerians, they think the war was a tribal war. And in fact, it was not a tribal war. It was a war created by Europeans between
Michael, real quick. You know that every single general on all sides were all trained at the same school in England, the same military.
They all became friends after the war. They all buddies. They became buddies. Ojukwu, the guy that led the Igbo, the so-called Igbo tribe, he became friends with the other guys. He came into politics. He was even running for president. The warlords all became buddies. Even today, these warlords, the Ojukwu, the warlord on both sides, their children right now, they are friends.
Yeah,
you know
I just want. Yeah, I just want to make.
Listen, let me finish, man. Let me finish. You have young Nigerians because their daddy or their grandfather went through hell during the war, and they give them stories, and the story they will give you because in Nigeria they don't teach us history in school. They don't break down what happened. It's like the war happened, and none of us knew exactly what the situation was. It was until the internet came out that they started posting the all kinds of information that I had to do a research to find out that this is what happened. This thing was not really about tribe killing tribe. It was just oil was discovered in Nigeria. Billions of barrels of oil was discovered. The British want to control it. Europeans, they got everybody's eyes on it, and they decided, okay, let's create a divide and conquer situation so we can take over. So they will create two warlords and make them fight each other. And at the end, in the middle of the war, they will not come in and say, hey, you give me your deal. Hey, you give me your deal. And then whoever give them the best deal, they will give them more weapons to win the war. So Biafran war was never a tribal war. So I don't understand why a lot of these young Igbo kids have so much hatred towards people from other tribes simply because of what happened during the war. If you want to blame what happened during the war on anybody, blame it on the warlords and the British that created the war. And this not only go for Nigerians, even other Africans that are watching. I hope they can learn. Even a lot of Liberians when I hang around the Congolese. I hang around a lot of Africans in Houston, dude. We have soccer team. I'm talking about dynasty. When I go play soccer with people from Congo, I will have guys literally not want to play because the amount of guys on the other team are from this other tribe, and they believe that tribe. I'm serious, Dynasty. And why? Not because I hate them, because of the tribe. Because something happened. When I get into conversation with them, it always leads to a war that happened in the 90s or 80s. How their village was ransacked, how people were killing their village. So those wars that happened in the past, many Africans never really understood what really happened. Because what we're told is that, it was a tribal war. It was this tribe that came in and tried to rule. But they will never tell you that there was a coltan, there was a mineral discovered in a village, and a group of Jewish and British people want to take over. So they will funding both sides. Huh?
We're funding both sides.
Thank you. They will fund both two criminal warlords to start a crazy massacre. And then at the end of the day, when these two warlords, they become friends at the end. So Nigerians will have this situation of tribal.
I'll give you an example. Now, police brutality, my Igbo brother. So I
always get
now they'll say my Igbo brothers and sisters will say that the British were funded or were backing the house on the Yorubas. And then they'll say, that's why the French were helping us, as if the French were being benevolent.
The French and British, they are on the same page.
It's like they really give a damn about the Igbos.
Thank you.
I've heard Igbos tell me that. I look at them like, are you talking about the same French that colonized all of West Africa, but for some reason they just felt sorry for the Igbos?
Dennis, let me tell you what's really dangerous. They have this group of Igbo guys. They call themselves IPOB. He's led by this fucking guy named Namikanu. This guy is going to.
He's a coon. You talk about the
Dennis.
I don't talk about. He's a coon. Yeah.
Dennis, let me tell you what this guy is doing. This guy is going to Israel. He's going to white people. He's going to Israel and white men.
Okay. Hold on. Monday and police brutality. I know for a fact y'all don't support that guy, do you?
I want to let me talk first. Let me go from the beginning. when because I like to do a lot of history and I don't want to like go over people. So let's start this way. Before the country Nigeria was formed, we used to have kingdoms, okay? And we had the Hausa kingdom, we had the the Egbas, Yoruba kingdom, we have the Igbo, we have different kingdoms everywhere and here and there. I think I'm receiving echo. What's going on?
Monday. There you go. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So the Hausa tribe, the Hausa kingdoms are really organized, and they had this structure and everything. That's why till today, that's why they have the Sultan of Sokoto and all their caliphates and everything. They're really organized and they have an army, and that is where the Nigerian army came from, which is also known as the slave raiding army that was raiding slaves in other kingdoms around. You have your
Brother, I'm sorry, man. I don't want to cut you off, man. I'm sorry, man. Just to correct you, man. When you say the Nigerian army, don't say that because think about it. Before the Civil War, most tribe that populated the Nigerian army the most were Igbos. They were the number one. They had the most population, most officers, and that was the main reason why they thought the guy Ojukwu thought he was going to win that war because during that time, before the Civil War, most of the officers and most of the troops in the Nigerian army were mainly Igbos.
I know that was a night. I'm telling you,
So what I'm talking about,
I'm
that's
going back to history. I'm not going back 1960. I'm going back to 1700s.
no, you
Okay, I'm
mentioned that
start
the Nigerian army are Hausas and things like that. These tribal
because
things,
it
man.
no, the thing is that the Nigerian army had majority back in the 1800s and 1700s. Had
Well,
a majority
No,
about.
no, no.
hold on. Nigeria didn't exist in the 1700s.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Danny.
that's what I'm trying to let people know, that it was known as Negrita or Negroland or the Big Sudan. I'm going back history. This is history that majority of us in Nigeria don't know about. Why is it that the Nigerian army has an Arabic inscription on it? Okay,
Oh,
because it was mostly people that were Fulani origin that were in the army, and they were the slave raiding terrorist group. That's why till today the Nigerian army is used to attack people. We know about
okay.
the operation. We know about the Operation Python dance that happened during, and the fact that I should understand that people are always attacking me online, saying that why am I talking bad about the Fulani? You know what the Fulani are? People that migrated from the east, and they have this a nomadic lifestyle of raiding people's stuff. So those are the guys that were more in the they were called the Frontier Continental Army, the Nigerian army, the Ghanaian army, Senegalese, and the rest of them. And the fact that also coming back to the Biafra War, because the Biafra War was more, it was not really like a war, it was more like a genocide because they were, they were trying to take out a certain tribe of people out.
I disagree, man.
Bro. Okay, let me ask. Okay, here we go. Who assassinated Amadou Bello?
Thank you.
Because from my
Ama-
understanding, he started the war. So who assassinated Amadou Bello?
Ask him who started the war. Who attacked first? Ask him.
Who assassinated Amadou Bello?
Not only Amadu Bello, Danis, look at this, man. You have group of guys. They organized a coup, right?
Right.
And okay, the leader of the coup, they were Igbos, right? So now, actually, it was the British that ordered that coup. To be honest, it was the British that sent because if you go do your research, most Africans they don't study Africa, they only study their own country. During that same time, within that 3 months, December of 1965, January 1966, February 1966, within that 3 months, there were a coup that happened simultaneously in Africa, and these coups were really coup against Pan-Africanist governments. Kwame Nkrumah was the force they overthrew. It was in December of that year. And Nigerian government were pro Kwame Nkrumah. Togo government, all those government in Africa, they were pro Pan-Africanists. The colonialists, the West, wanted to overthrow those governments. So what they did, the British, the French, and the CIA, what they did was went to the army in the countries to organize coups, to take over those government. So in Nigerian situation was unfortunate because the soldiers, like I said earlier, most of the soldiers in the Nigerian army were Igbos. So most likely, the person they're going to run into to use to carry out the operation will happen to be Igbo. So these officers that the West used to take out those people in the government were Igbo soldiers. Now, here's the mistake the soldiers made. When they went out to take out the people in the government, right? They were killing leaders. They were non-Igbos, and the leaders that were Igbos, they gave them option to run away. Basically, they assassinated Amadu Bello, who's from the north, who's an Hausa. They assassinated Tafa Balewa, who's from the north, who's a Fulani. They assassinated Akitola, who's a Yoruba. They assassinated Festus Okotiebo, who's from the Niger Delta. And then when they got to Nnamdi Azikiwe, when they got to the president was Igbo, and the premier of the East, who was Igbo, they didn't kill them. They gave them option to run away. So now, when the dust cleared, when the whole thing ended, the whole country was like, hold on, what just happened here? You just killed. And then what happened was, after the coup, the person that took over the government was an Igbo general. So people are like, why you kill people in the government, but you only kill non-Igbo people? That doesn't make any sense. So now, this guy, this general that took over the country, Ironsi, who was an Igbo, right? Now, people were asking all the leaders from all these tribes and like asking him, like, hey, what happened here, man? Like, you have these Igbo soldiers just assassinate all these leaders. Can you explain what's going on? These guys just blew all these leaders off. He blew them off. He blew them off. Like, I don't give, like, he didn't give a damn, So, of course, you're going to have situations where people are going to be like, oh, this look like a tribal affair. So then the Hausa soldiers, the northern soldiers, felt like most of the people that died in the coup, most of the casualties were their leaders, their own people. So they decided to carry a counter coup and overthrew the Igbo guy that took over, the general that took over the president. They took him out, and then unfortunately there was like a riot in the north. But a lot of outsiders started killing Igbos in the north, and unfortunately that was sad, But that happened, and then all the tribes started coming together. Like, hold on, what's going on here? People that were intelligent, they understood what was going on. Like, hey, this is not a Nigerian. They started this whole thing. It was the West. They're trying to destabilize Nigeria, and they decided like, hey, you know what? Let's not go to war. Let's discuss. Let's talk. Let's iron this out. And luckily, the guy that they made everybody agree that, okay, we should take over the country, should not be from any of the major tribes, should not be Yoruba, Igbo, or Hausa. The person has to come from a minority tribe. That's why they pick Yakubu Gowon, who came from a minority tribe. Even his tribe, most Nigerians don't even know the tribe he came from because his tribe is so tiny. So they made him the head of state. Like, okay, you take charge because you're not from any of these three major tribes. Be in charge. Let's make peace. And the guy did his best to create peace, to make sure everything went smoothly. But they had this crazy guy that the British started pumping him up, or the West, the French, whatever. The white man started pumping him up. Like, listen, man, hey, you can take over. They started giving him weapons, giving him money, sponsoring him. This guy decided, no, he wants this. He wants to be the leader. He wants to be the president. He wants to be in charge. And everybody said, no, you can't be in charge. They even went to Ghana to try to resolve this issue. This guy did not agree. Eventually, he thought he was so powerful, he was so strong because he's from an Igbo tribe, and Igbo people always believe that they just so, they're these powerful. Let me not go there. Okay. I'm sorry.
Man. We don't want the tribalism.
Okay. So, I mean, we all know our attitudes, and people, not only Igbo. I'm talking about the people from the majority tribe, even Yorubas, even outside, because we are the majority. We always feel like we are powerful. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to say Igbos are just like that. Any country you go in the world, even in America, white Americans feel they're powerful because they're the majority, right? You go to any country in Africa, anywhere in the world, the majority group always feel that they're powerful. They're more powerful, and they can conquer everybody else. So
I just want to say something about
just to cut it short, not to for simplicity's sake. This guy Ojukwu decided to start a war. He went on attack. He invaded the old Niger Delta, took over the minority tribe, took over the Hoi, conquered this territory, and then he made a stupid mistake and he started to invade Yoruba land. Got to Ondo State, and he gave guns to a bunch of young boys. They were trigger happy, and when they got to Yoruba land, they massacred 2,000 women, young men, women, and children. Guess what? When Civil War started, what do you want Yoruba people to do? These people came out land and massacre people. So this whole thing, at the end, so just to keep it short, the war was not a tribal war. It was war between warlords and Dinis. The funny thing is, during the war, they were Yorubas, they were on the side of the Biafrans, and they were Igbos, they were on the side of the Nigerians.
Yeah, I know.
So this whole thing was never a tribal war. It was just a war for oil. Who's going to control the oil? And at the end of the day, guess who's controlling the oil? If you go to the oil mine, if you go to the Niger Delta, you know what you're going to find?
Shell.
BP, British Petroleum, French oil company, Total, you're not gonna find an African oil company there. So at the end of the day, the people that won the war were the white men. So why today are we hating each other? Why are Igbo people always, carrying this hatred towards Yorubas and Hausas and all this shit? It does not make sense. And this thing happened 50 years ago. Why do you hate Yoruba people in 2019? It doesn't make any sense. You were not born. I wasn't born. You were not born. So why do you and I have to say, oh, Yorubas are these? And I always notice this whole campaign of this Nnamdi Kanu guy has brainwashed a lot of young Igbos, because every day on the internet, they just putting out propaganda. They just preaching tribal, like propaganda, where you got these even young Igbo children that were born in America, that's never been to Nigeria. I'm talking about they're starting to develop this tribalistic mindset because they've been brainwashed by this old generation. They had a bad experience, So Nigerians, we're good people. We're not, like my brother said, to my Black American brother, man, we are good people, man. We talk aggressive and everything, but trust me, man, we don't we don't hate anybody, man. Just what I can say is among every group, there are good and bad people. But what I would advise you is, when you want to get to know people, when you want to get closer to a group of people, trying to find the good ones and hang out with the good ones, and you're gonna have good experience.
Real quick,
dive in and
one second, my bad. We got Jason. Jason, you from the UK, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where in Nigeria are you from?
Abekota, Ogun State.
Okay, so you're Yoruba.
Yeah, I'm Yoruba. I'm born in the UK, so I've got a different perspective.
Okay, well, go ahead and add real quick, and then I'll pass it back to police.
The issue between the Yorubas and the Igbos, we have that here as well. I've experienced it. I've had to learn the history to find out. And when you get to the root of it, it's all about power. And certain power was given to a certain tribe, should I say, by the British, so they could continue their control over the territory, which basically was the structure of how they implemented the whole idea of Nigeria. So they could keep control with someone that favored their doing. So basically, when the other tribes realized that this was unfair, then you have all these issues that you see. And like you said, all of these army military were taught where Prince William, Prince Charles, and all of them went to army school here. And the funny thing is, if you check their curriculum of what they had to learn, there's a semester where they learned how to do a coup. All of them were trained in how to do a coup. Every last one of them, which is actually a semester, something that they actually learn, which is very strange when you think about it. You was training the future next 40 years of generals, dictators, in how to do a coup. So that's all I wanted to add.
Okay. Go ahead, please, John.
Yeah, I just want to say this. I know that, first of all, I know that Nnamdi Kanu is an agent, so I'm not.
I can't take anybody that supports him. I just get off the chat now. Like
I can't. I'm not in. So I listen to Biafra radio, and the guy is pushing a lot of.
Why do you listen to Biafra radio? Why?
I listen to it because I want to know the mindset of why is the guy pushing this narrative of because I want to know. And I found out that the guy is being sponsored by the West, by Britain, especially the UK, because the UK want to keep this constant tribalism war in Nigeria, because they are the ones that created the whole tribalistic stuff. 90% of Nigerian problems came from England. I know that
Africa's problem. Africa. All the tribal shit.
Yeah, I'm saying for Nigeria. I know Africa's problem all came from Europe. So I'm just saying for Nigeria, because like the UK brother said, they train our officers to learn how to plot coup, because my dad is a retired Navy general. He was also trained in the UK. So, I could say much on that. Another thing I've noticed is that there is this whole tribalistic stuff, okay? It's just the same to the racism, okay? It's all about let's use this ism to control people. Okay, so for me as a person, I'm not a tribalistic person. I went to the Nigerian military school, which I have mates from all 36 states. all 36 states. So I have mates from, from the south, south, southeast, northeast, north central, so I am not a tribalistic minded human being. It's just that we should understand that all these things that we have, all this problem that we have in Nigeria, there is a puppet hand behind it, and it is the West and also Europe. Okay, they don't want us to unite. They want us to keep fighting. They are the ones that will create a tribe. They will use one tribe to attack another tribe, causing all these divisions. Okay, so they are the main enemy. I didn't come here to support whether Biafra this, Biafra that. Because funny enough, my parents are survivors of the Biafra War. Okay, my mom was 4 when the Biafra War started. My dad was in his teenage years when the Biafra War started, early teenage years. And my dad is in his 60s and my mom is in her 50s. Okay, so my mom told me back then that a lot of children her age back then died. There was a kwashiorkor, there were, lack of food. People were hunting rats and eating lizards. Farmlands were destroyed. All kinds of mines like bombs were built underneath, and people were getting blown off every day. People had to live. My late grandfather had to live in a trench, like had to hide, constant helicopter, constant bombing. You had the Biafra army had to build all their machinery from scratch. So when they say that we black people can't build anything, don't listen to when a cracker tells you that we can build even more than. Okay, so the whole thing has this Western hand agenda because apart from the UK and the US having a hand in it through the CIA and through their whatever, Spain, other European countries were also involved. Belgium, the big powers back then were also involved in this war because they were trying to cause division in the country. Africa has always been that fighting ground for Europe.
Can I
You
ask you one
know.
question, my brother, man? Can I ask you one question, man? Sorry.
Okay.
I
All
have a
right.
question. Okay, you and I have to agree that you agree that okay, the West started this problem, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
they used our people, right? They used the warlords. Like to me, the Biafran war, the only people I blame is the West and the warlords. The warlords that they used. So now my question for you guys is this: why is Ojuku the warlord on the Igbo side? Why is he being worshipped in Igbo land? Why do they have monument name over him? Why do they have his family being worshipped? This guy was responsible for the millions of life because he didn't have to fight the war and he didn't have to continue the war during the war. So the warlord was responsible for the death and the destruction. So why is he being worshipped in Igbo land? Chinese people in Igbo land, they worship this guy, dude. Like they name buildings after this guy, they name parks after him. His family, his wife is being called the queen of the Igbos. I mean, I'm like, what kind of nonsense? This man collaborated with the West to cause destruction that people see the trauma, people see suffering to today. He created this whole, he's one of the people that created this problem. So why are Igbo people still worshiping this guy? And then they blame, and this guy was, this guy just to cover his ass, he started creating a bunch of fake stories that because the reason he lost the war is because of the Yorubas.
Okay.
How can you
Let
say it was
me.
your tribe was the reason why you lost the war? You started a war, you lost, and you ran away. You let 2 million children die, and then you ran away. And then you came back and became friends with the enemy that you fought against. And then you started telling your people that, oh, you the Yoruba tribe, they betrayed the Igbos. They started creating all these fake stories, and they just brainwash all these young Igbos, man. Like, many of these kids are so brainwashed, and you have no idea. Like, they just open their mind and start talking. I'm like, are you serious? And they
Okay.
worship this guy like he's somebody that's so great. Ojuku this, Ojuku that. This guy ran away, dude. That is, I was in the military, and that's the law in the military. Like, if your commander leads you to battle and he runs and leaves you to die, if you catch him, you have a right to kill him. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say I went to Iraq, right? And then my commander,
Mike, you're real low.
okay, can you hear me?
It's a little bit better.
Yeah. I was in the military. I was in the U.S. military. And one thing I learned is that if you lead a people to a battle and you leave them and run away, they have a right to take your life whenever they catch you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if I would have went to war in Iraq and my commander that led me to the war, they led me to the war front, he abandoned me in the battlefield, if I would have came back to the U.S. and I see him on the streets, I have a right to take his life. And trust me,
Yeah, he has a point. He has a point. He has a point. But now, in fact, Monday, I'll ask you this question: Why was Ojukwu? Was his name Ojukwu? Ojukwu, was that his name?
Ojukwu.
Why was he welcome after he deserted the Biafran army? Why was he welcomed back home with open arms?
Because to be honest with you, Diners came from a Nigerian perspective who's been there, and my father was probably on 10 when the war was happening. His father fought against Nigerian army. So order my mom said Ojukwu created let's go. He is the one who physically is trying to fight against the Yorubas and the Hausas for the British. So there was a time you have to retreat. He didn't run. Ojukwu did not. He did not.
He ran to the Ivory Coast. He took the cities. He took all the money from the Biafran bank and ran to the Ivory Coast.
Because the Yorubas, the Hausas, and the British, they were trying to exterminate everybody in the Biafran territory.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Yes.
Listen, thank God we have the internet. Everything is online right now. Everything is online. That is, I'm going to send you a lot of videos.
So now,
the media during that time.
Okay, let that be.
Listen. All the Nigerian government was asking is just surrender. The funny thing was that when the war started, within 3 months, they already lost the war. It was clear that this guy lost the war.
Hey, listen, we lost that war. That war is considered no victory, no vanquish. If you read it,
dude,
this is
3 months.
This is one thing about people. This is one thing about
this guy kept fighting for 3 years.
Millions
of children died.
The people
at the end of the day, he ran away.
And the British fought against a single tribe. You guys couldn't even win. The war is no victory, no vanquish. You can't tell me we lost the war. And no
victory, no vanquish.
Which is fact. But that war wasn't lost.
So you didn't lose the war? Biafra didn't lose the war?
We did not.
So, you did not?
No offense, it sounds like you both lost the war.
Yeah. Let me. Okay, brother, repeat that again. We all lost the war. There was no winners in the Biafran War. No, there was no winners. We all lost.
Sorry, can I say something? Can I say something?
We all lost. We all lost.
Because the nation with the most potential in the continent still can't sort it out to this day.
That war just destroyed everything, dude. That war destroyed
Okay, let me say something.
I'm not saying four people came out victorious on that war, but you can only imagine when it takes the Yorubas, the Hausas, the Cameroonians, because the Cameroonians was used at the other side to stop food. That is when we Ojukwu called out for quit. If it wasn't for the fact that the food were stopped by the Cameroonians, that war is not going nowhere. Igbo people, they are creating their own bombs against 3 people, including a world power, British. Igbo people deserve an accolade for that war, despite the fact that the war ended in no victory, no vanquish. We are the only people in Africa who have been able to engage in some kind of malicious and still survive. Igbo people still try to this day. So this Yoruba man telling me, we lost over 2 million.
It was not a war against Igbos, man. It was not a tribal war. It was Nigerian army, Nigerian military.
Okay, let's get back on topic, man. I don't want to. No. Here we go.
Diners, let's get back on topic. Seriously, if we continue like this, we'll talk from now till tomorrow.
Yeah, because
one Nigeria, no tribalism, one Nigeria. We all lost the war. Okay, all right. Let's go back.
I think our people should understand the fact that we have a greater war amongst us. We're fighting a system that is keeping us. We're fighting a system that is keeping us tribalistic, attacking ourselves all the time.
Here we go. At the end of the day, the white people in the South here in America fought the Northerners, but they still practice white supremacy.
Yeah.
Listen, listen, the wars that was going on in Europe before the Berlin Conference,
Yeah,
they still got together and said, what are we going to do with these Negroes? Okay,
definitely.
the
Yeah,
British, the Spanish, they put all that shit to the side.
I said
Let's carve up these Negroes.
let
So
let's go and conquer Africa.
talking about the war is pointless. It's pointless. So let's get
Danny,
to
that's why we need to
That
promote.
is 100% fact, and I respect that because
That's
the
why we
war
need to promote Pan-Africanism.
against ourselves.
We need to
And
promote Pan-Africanism because anybody that's a Pan-Africanist cannot think tribal. Honestly, like we need to promote
brother,
Pan-Africanism is a way for the black race. If we don't understand that, because Pan-Africanism will educate you about all these things. We'll let you
I
know
just thank God. I just
It's
thank
a
God that the
practical
Yoruba. I
necessity.
just I just thank God
Pan-Africanism
that the
is a
Yoruba brother
practical
said such, because you have
necessity.
people that don't believe in Pan Africanism and they are saying that Pan Africanism is dead.
believe in that. If you want to go into people who are really Pan-Africanist by mentality, now Igbo people, Yorubas don't practice Pan-Africanism.
oh, come on, stop. Monday, stop.
Let me tell y'all something about everybody else.
They stop being tribal. Stop.
If I may,
Diners,
I'm gonna
I'm
tell you
keeping it
why
real with you, brother.
Pan-Africanism. If I may, I'm gonna tell you why Pan-Africanism is a necessity.
I
Why
am
it
an
has to be.
example of Pan-Africanism in Nigeria. Me.
Danny,
Huh?
when slavery ended, right? When slavery ended, there were influx of returning slave from the diaspora back in the 1800s, 1800 when slavery ended, from Brazil, from the United States, from the Caribbean. There were influx of them that came to Nigeria. The only tribe they accepted them were the Yorubas. I mean, not to say the only, the main tribe.
Let me say this. So Monday, I got see. This is where I got to disagree with you. Monday, every year, in Ile Ife, me personally, and Oruo and Ila Orogu, they bring Brazilians who have traced their roots back to Yoruba land, and they receive them every year. Yeah.
Diners, I will not take away the Yoruba credit for hospitality. Yorubas have hospitality, and so other tribes too. But it's just that we need to learn how to keep our differences and face what is the problem. The main problem of us, especially in Nigeria, our religion. Religion is the biggest problem we have.
I agree.
I don't see a Yoruba man as my enemy, except he look at me as one.
But when you open your mouth, the first thing you do is insult Yoruba people, man. That's the first thing you do.
Huh?
When you open your mouth, the first thing you do,
God.
Come on, Mike, come on, man. Come on, stop. Let's stop. No.
Gentlemen, if I may, I'm gonna tell y'all a reason why Pan-Africanism is a practical necessity. I mentioned the reason that I had some arguments with people coming out of Nigeria before, and it had to do with some of them arguing about whether or not I was even from Africa. The thing is this: living where I've lived, I've learned that we don't have to merely worry about the former colonizers. They're not the only ones we got to worry about. We got enemies that are not from Europe, but they think they're European, or they think they're white, or they think whites are normal. They don't even hate us. They just think white is normal and we're not. And they become these unconscious enemies, subconscious enemies. They would also interfere in our internal affairs if they could, and they would do it for their own benefit and not for ours. And they don't have the white concept of hatred of us or wanting to shoot us in the streets like the cops do in the US. They don't even have that. They're in some ways less dangerous, other ways more dangerous. What I'm saying is we have enemies from the Arab world. We got enemies from China. We got enemies from maybe even Japan and South Korea, well, certainly South Korea for that matter. So while we're sitting up here arguing about these things, they don't know the difference. But if you tell them the differences, they're only going to use them for their ends and their benefit and not ours, even if they don't hate us. So imagine Europeans who do hate us. You guys are arguing. I can't even keep up with this. And I'm not the only one. Every non-Nigerian in the chat room cannot keep up with this. We can't.
My brother, man, I apologize, man. I apologize, See, I mean, some conversations are necessary, honestly. Like, where I'm going, reason why, I had to address this, Pan-Africanism is the future. Dennis, I made a show with you in the past, and I told you that without the diasporas, Africa's finished. And the reason why I said that is because I knew what I was looking when I made that statement. because I understand the kind of damage the Europeans have done among Africans instead of intertribal. And the only people that can come there and help us squash that shit are the diasporans, dude. You understand? You, the Black Americans, the Caribbeans, the Afro Brazilian. When you guys come to Africa, there's no tribe that's looking at you as, oh, you guys are just neutral. So you guys are the only one that can come to that continent and help us heal this crazy madness that the Europeans have created among us. That's why that was one of the reasons why I told you that the future without the diasporans, Africa is fucking mad. Even me, as Pan-African as I am, I cannot get an Igbo person to join me as a Pan-Africanist because he sees me as a Yoruba and he doesn't trust me. You know what I'm saying? I find it difficult to get somebody from a different tribe to join me in Pan-Africanism. You understand? But
Brother,
if you
Egbo,
Well, you
as
now have a
Black
brother from
American,
multiple tribes joining you in
Egbo,
Pan-Africanism.
Egbo, I just want to say one thing. I grew up. I'm an Igbo brother. Grew up in Lagos, so I grew up in the Yoruba land. Okay, I'm here in
it's
Cal.
easier for me to get you because you grew up in Yoruba land. But can I go
Yeah.
to Igbo land and get an Igbo brother to follow me as a Yoruba man? He'll probably shoot me,
Let me say one thing. I went to school in the east, Owefuto, Owerri, and what I found out there was that because this is what they told me. They told me that look, you're an Igbo guy, but you grew up in the west, so you're not Igbo. So I told them, how is that so? They said that because I didn't grow up in Igbo land. I'm like, the problem we have in Igbo land, because one thing I noticed there in Owerri is the closed-mindedness. It's horrible because even those that grew up outside Igbo land, they treat us differently. Okay, so I told them, look, I am for our people coming together to relate. I'm not for all this whether you didn't grow up in Igbo land or not. Okay, because what I found out that many people there don't really do a lot of research. Is what one top head tells them that they would do, and that is really bad because I noticed that when I was in Owerri, I noticed that a lot, and because people are still licking the wounds of the Biafra War and they don't want it to let go. Because my grandfather didn't allow the Biafra War to pull him down. He got up, started his business from scratch, and moved on. But you see, when I was there, and there was this constant, okay, this Igbo guy was born in Lagos, so he's not part of us, and I can understand that because I'm like, I grew up in Yoruba land, so I'm able to relate to the Yorubas more easier. I'm also able to relate to those in the north because I schooled in the north. I schooled in NMS. Okay, so for me, I went around Nigeria. Okay, because my dad was in the military and he really moved around. All right, so that is just the issue. Okay, so when I tell people that look, we are not looking at the 200,000 pound elephant in the room that caused this thing called tribalism. These were created by people that don't look like us. They smile at you all the time, but they created this ism to cause this divide and rule. Okay, because even when they had their own issues in Europe fighting themselves, they came together and formed this alliance that let's go to Africa. Let's divide Africa into certain places. But for us, we tend to battle ourselves and not knowing that the tribalism wasn't created by us. It was created by a set of race of people that don't like us.
And it's
Because
funny, that's the same thing they're trying to do in America now with this. They're trying to
ADUS
divide Black Americans and Africans. Like
with the ADUS, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they
Uh-huh.
use movies, all these things,
Yeah.
that's what Danny.
And they have people like Yvette Carnell and Antonio, whatever his name is,
Danny, I
pushing that.
told you, Danny, I told you, Yvette is an agent. You know what, my brother. Sorry, let me say one thing to Danny. Sorry,
Okay.
Danny, I told you Yvette is an agent. You know why I say that? Because I come from Africa. I know where I'm coming from. I know how Europeans use an African to start a tribal difference. There's some white person paying Yvette Cornell to do what she's doing. You understand? I can see the big picture because I come from Nigeria. We've had the same issue. That's how tribalism began. They will use somebody using to push tribal differences and say, "Oh, this tribe is stealing from you. That tribe is stealing from you," and which is not a real case. And before you know it, millions of people will start buying the message, and hatred will begin. That's why I was telling you, Yvette needs to be stopped. All these kind of people, we good Black Americans and good Africans, we need to come together and look at the people among us that are trying to create these things that white men is trying to use to divide us.
Yeah,
And the fact because white people understand that when blacks unite, they are finished. They will not allow that shit, dude. Like they will do propaganda, all these things. We all need to start thinking, dude. We need to start using our fucking heads, man. That's
Michael.
and in America, I don't want it to end up like
And the fact that,
because in
and the fact
America
that,
we have different black nationalities, and these white supremacists are trying to use some people to create all these differences, and then before you know it, we are divided, and we cannot catch up with other groups, you know.
Mike,
and the fact,
can I tell a story that's gonna back up your point? You mind, Mike?
Let the go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah,
which one, me or police brutality?
Oh, you.
okay.
All right. And I wasn't trying to cut you off to be mean, police brutality. But what Michael said, I want to back his point up because he's telling the truth. But I have a story that actually illustrates the proof of that today. It's where I am right now. It's 4:43 a.m. in the morning. Where most of you guys are, it's you're 8 or 7 hours behind where I am now. So a few hours ago, about 8 hours ago, I was leaving work to come home, and I got off about 8:30. So I was leaving, and I took a type of Uber. It's a different company, but same concept. The driver that came to pick me up, we got to talking, chit chatting, and somewhere down the line, he started asking me, well, what do you think about Saddam Hussein? And I said to him, look, I'm an African. I don't know about Saddam. I know the U.S. killed him for the wrong reasons. They didn't care what bad he did. They killed him because he dropped the dollar. And you need to understand that white folks are going to always protect their interests. But for me, I'm an African. My what I think about him depends on what he thought about us. And so this man said, wait, you're an African. Are you sure? I was like, yes, I am. And I turned the light on in the car because it was night. I turned the light on and showed him my nose and my lips and said, yes, I'm an African. It's happening. Now, the thing was, he said something about the U.S. government and how they meddled in the affairs of the Arabs. And I told him, bro, you're preaching to the choir. They came to Africa and kidnapped us. They forced us to be Americans and they're killing us. Did you think they were going to leave you alone? No, they don't do that. That's not how they are. From this conversation, the man said, wait a minute, you're so proud to be an African. And so I said, well, yeah, of course. Well, the man, we got into from there, we got to the conversation about my marriage. I recently tied the knot with an East African lady. And I told him something. He said, wait a minute. So your wife, is she African? I said, yeah. He asked, is she African like you or African like Africans? I said, she looks like an East
Seriously?
African. Right, he did. Here's the thing. The reason I'm mentioning this is this. This man was shocked. He wanted to tell me about what the white folks were doing to the Arabs. I agree. I don't hate Arabs. I just think they need to blacken up a little bit, psychologically speaking. But when we got to talking, the man forgot what he was trying to tell me. And he asked me, so wait a minute, looking at you, if you can marry a white woman or a black woman, which one would you choose? I told him, bro, I'm gonna marry a black woman every time. Every time I got married, it was to a black woman. So why are you asking me this? If you have a choice to marry a non-black woman or a black woman, aren't you going to marry the non-black woman? And he said, yeah, but why would you do it? So I told him the reason is because in your culture, you take it for granted that white looks better than black. In my culture, you're ugly, not us, because I'm black and you're black and you just don't know it. Now, the thing was, when I told him this and I started spitting this Pan-Africanism to him, the man was not, he didn't take it as a personal insult, but the man was shocked. It was fear. And this is not a white man talking to me. This is a Gulf Arab man who's got black blood himself and even admitted that he probably has it. So what I'm getting at is that the Pan-Africanism, it is necessary because even people who do not hate us are just taking it for granted that they have the right to rule over us and tell us what to do. It's just something they take for granted. It's white supremacy is their religion. I'm in a Muslim country. I'm 200% Muslim. These guys I'm surrounded by aren't usually Muslim. They're white supremacists. They just don't know it. It's a religion in the subconscious mind. And that's what the whole Matrix movie sequel was about. The whole series of the Matrix movies, that agent software and the Matrix itself was nothing more than white supremacy in that. And Sophia Stewart said as much when she was having a court case against the Wachowski brothers.
I had Sophia Stewart on here like 2-3 times.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna have her come on tomorrow. I'll hit her up tomorrow. She brought her up. I meant to call her.
All right. Now listen, if she said anything different from what I'm telling you, feel free to stop me and correct me. But the information I got now,
but she's not a Pan-Africanist. She's one of those indigenous Indian moles.
Okay. I could believe that. I could believe that because she and I actually, I think she and I might be related.
You know what? Sophia Stewart is Yvette Carnell.
Now, about the movie itself, did she say that the Matrix software was a metaphor for white supremacy, or did she say something contrary when she was on with you?
Dude, you know what? You gotta if you go on my page and search Sophia Stewart through my videos, they'll come up. I interviewed her like 2 years ago. I can't remember, but she is definitely anti-African, and she is definitely a super indigenous. We are cover. I read that shit like yesterday. But
All right.
I bought her book. I read it. I bought her book. I read it, and I brought her on the show like twice to discuss it. But she is some super. We are chicken sauce, Choctaw, and those Africans do not like us. Trust me. It's all. Watch the video.
I am actually part Choctaw, and I can tell you, most of them don't even know much about us. They don't hate us, but they know that we're not the same. The Choctaw know. But anyway, I'm not going to assert that she's a Pan-Africanist. Only that when she was writing the book,
she's not.
I'm not going to claim that she is, but the information I got from Angry Man was that when she wrote the original story, which they stole at that time, that she was using the Matrix and the agents as a metaphor for white supremacy. And if she has changed the position on that, then I stand corrected. However,
I don't want to say that. In fact, I don't remember, because when she got into the whole indigenous moles, we Indians, it went on it kind of went over my head. That's the last impression I had of her. But I think you are right as far as the system in regards to white supremacy and racism, as far as the Matrix. I believe so. But again, I had, she lost me with the we indigenous moles. So.
Well, she would lose anybody with that. She definitely would lose me because I'm part indigenous, and I know that there's a big difference there. I know what the similarities are and what the differences are because I had to know, but that's another story. The thing is, Michael is telling the truth that Pan-Africanism is not about romance. It's not about we all even love each other. It's about we're willing to cooperate for our mutual survival because we are related. Everyone else knows we're related because they came from us, and they know they don't want to go back to looking like us again.
Now,
let me do whatever they can to make sure that the average melanin count in the world decreases. And you got maybe 3 exceptions to this, but our neighbors out right next to Africa are not among these exceptions. So if you got people who don't hate us and they want this, what do you think the Europeans are going to do when they demonstrated that they hate us and everybody else? Yeah, it's a necessity. It's not romance. This is necessary. We either
brother, let me add to what you just said. Please let me.
And then after you go, Mike, let's get the brother.
Okay.
Please.
I just want to be
Jason's still on too, so I want to get Jason in there too. But go ahead.
Okay, Europeans, why are they successful? Why did we over everybody? They have pan-Europeanism. You understand? You can't, when you go to Europe, trust me, French, German, French, Spanish, all these people, they don't really they come together as a pan-European group.
That's why they have the EU.
Pan-Europeanism. That's why white supremacy is so successful. You understand? Europeans understand that they're race first. They come together first against everybody before they, among Berlin Conference, they came together as white people to squash their difference as white, to oppress others. You understand? So that's what I'm saying. Pan-Africanism is not saying that, okay, I'm no longer Yoruba, or I'm no longer Black American, I'm no longer Igbo, I'm no longer. Pan-Africanism is as a black race, we have to get to the promised land.
First.
You understand what I'm saying? Pan-Africanism is what we need to adopt right now. Then when we get to the promised land, when we're taking over our continent, the richest continent in the world, where we control the wealth of this world, our wealth, where every black person is not suffering because we're too wealthy, dude. Our continent is too wealthy for us to be the poorest people. You understand? But we're not there. That's the end goal. That's the vision. And the only thing that can take us there is Pan-Africanism. We have to forget whatever small issues that, we irritate each other. Yes, but we have to put that aside for now, dude. We have to worry about the future of our great-grandchildren and forget our own personal egos and my personal feelings towards Igbo, Yoruba, Black America, Jamaica. All that shit is stupid, dude. If we love the future of our great-grandchildren, we need to put all these petty things aside. You understand what I'm saying? And understand that the reason why Europe is so rich, all these white people are so wealthy, I'm talking about abandoned billions. They're so wealthy. What makes them wealthy is our wealth. It's Africans' resources that's making them rich. And we are freaking broke. How can you be broke in America? How can black people always say these Nigerians are successful. This is not success, dude. All these getting a job, 100,000 engineering degree and get a 150,000 salary in a year. That's nothing, dude. You should be making on them, dude. The white man that hired a Nigerian that's making the Nigerian doctor that's making $300,000 a year. The white man that hired him is probably making 30 million off his
Right.
labor. So
Facts.
all this success we're talking
Facts, man.
about,
Facts.
that's not success, dude. To me, all these things talking about Nigerians are successful in America, dude. That's not success, because the money, you go get a degree, you so smart, everything, and then you go work for a white corporation, and then they pay
Bullshit.
you,
Yeah.
they pay you some. You bust your ass the whole year, make like maybe 50 million for the company, and the salary they end up paying you at the end of the year is $20,000, and then you coming around talking about I'm successful. Come
Nah.
on, man.
You're only successful when you're the one that control
Thank you.
your economy, your financial empowerment as a people.
There is no successful black group at this point. There's no single successful black group in the world right now. All these things we're fighting over, this one is a little bit more successful than me. That's stupid. We all should not be in this level we're in right now. The black race, there's no black human being on this planet that should be suffering and be poor. You know what I'm saying? We're not in the promised land. The promised land is a big picture, and the only thing that can take us there is Pan-Africanism. So everybody needs to hand this stupid, fuck the Nigerians, fuck the Ghanaians, all these stupid shit will fight. Black race, we need to start teaching our children to love their race, to see your race as see us as a beautiful person, beautiful race, and we need to get to that point, and we have to come together for the sake of going to where we need to be, because we're far from where we should be as a people. You know what I'm saying? So we need to put our little differences aside on what has happened to us in the past, the civil wars, the slavery, the sold me to slavery, all these things. Come on, man. That's not what we should be talking right now. Let's get to the promised land. And then we can sit there and say, okay, now let me slap you for selling, or let me slap you for the civil war. But we're not there. We're in a hole right now. And we are fighting over civil war that happened to my dad in 1954 or some shit. The tribe that shot this person, the African that sold the black Americans, the Caribbean, the black people, black man in this world needs to understand that that's not what we should be focusing on right now. That's not what we should be doing right now. We should start looking at the big picture, man. The big picture, where the black race as a people, we're in control of our own destiny. Because right now, no black man can tell me he's in control of his own destiny, dude. You can be in control of your own individual, maybe little money you can make to survive, or you make some money, but that's not success to me. If you cannot create something where your grandchildren don't have to need a white man for anything, you understand? That's success. Because every black person in this world, we need a white man for something. We're not in control, dude. If you say you're making money, boy, you need a white man to give you a job, or you need a white man to supply you something, then you're not successful. There's no successful black group. Nigerians are not successful black group. Let's stop hyping this Nigerian successful shit. Yeah, let's settle that. I'm not saying I'm against promoting our good side. Of course, we need that, because many of us are so pretty much think, everybody's decent, but let's not start saying they're successful. Let me be jealous of them, because they're really not successful, dude. None of us we are not successful. Anybody has a sense, they understand the potential of
let the brother Jason speak. Jason, go ahead.
All right. Sorry, man. Sorry. I talked to you.
Yeah, what I wanted to add to that is basically that if you look at the system, but here in Europe,
somebody's breathing real heavy into the phone. I don't know if somebody start breathing so heavy into the phone. All right, go ahead, Jason, go ahead.
They've been warring for what? God knows, maybe like 600, 700 years. The French, the English, the Scottish, the English, the Scottish, the Irish. They've been warring forever. Everything we've been going through, they've gone through. They've been going through. But yet they could sit down around a table and decide to carve up somewhere else and say, okay, look, we're going to share all of this place. But in order for them to be rich, someone has to be poor. Unfortunately, it's us in Africa. But if you look at all the wealth that is in Africa, that has been looted from Africa, it resides here in London, here in Switzerland, here in America.
Oh, man.
Everything. Even up until last week, I don't know if you heard about it, the general, they found another 200 million from this Nigerian general that died.
Sani
Abacha, yeah, in Switzerland.
200 million.
Okay, after you finish, I got a question for you, please, because I hear some people love Sani Abacha in Nigeria. But go ahead.
They found another 200 million. So I think it's coming up to 1 point something billion that they've recovered so far. But this 200 million, they put terms and conditions before they wanna take it for proceeds towards crime for the British government to seize basically, and the Nigerian government have no voice to speak up. So what we need to do collaboratively together, we have to be full as one, because all this bickering, fighting, not going to get you nowhere. And the wealth that is still within this Europe where I am now, that is owned by Nigerians, or off the back of Nigerians, and the back of the Ghanaians, and the back of Kenyans and South Africans, is immense. That if you even made one withdrawal, you would collapse the banking system in Europe and America, guaranteed. And these are the forms of attack that we need to be formulating. That okay, you've got this money there, let us take it back. We need to take it back. We're not taking it back on condition. We're taking it back because you yourself are prosecuting this person, that person for money laundering, where you've got the system that is laundering the money from all these so-called dictators that were your friends. But as soon as they turn bad, now the dictators that you want to cripple and destroy. So these are the type of things that we need to attack. For us to have any sort of success, that we need to be able to sit down and say, look, forget all our problems. Let's work together for a greater cause and attack the system. Because they've sat down and had this same conversation. I'm here in England. English people do not like Irish people. English people do not like Scottish people, and vice versa. French people hate English people. I mean, with a passion, hate English people. English people hate German people. So the question you got to ask yourself, okay, I always say this to English people. I said, you're complaining about why are we fighting? Why did you fight the Germans when they wanted to invade you? Why did you fight? Why didn't you let them invade you? Your brothers? Your royal family is German. Your cousins to the Russians, your cousins to the Spanish. Let the Germans invade you. Why didn't you let Hitler invade you? Why did you resist? So for that same reason why you resisted, is for the same reason why us in Africa have to resist.
Yeah, definitely.
What we'll do one more round. In fact, what we'll do, we'll go ahead and close out so everyone can, you can make your last. We'll log off.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks for
you
having
thought.
me on. Thanks for your patience with me, guys.
Oh, go ahead, Adam. Go ahead.
Thanks for having me on, and thanks for your patience with me, gentlemen.
Oh, no problem. Anytime. Mike, you go ahead and go next. I know you long.
Okay.
Mike, you got 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna be short. Hey, my Black American brother, man. Hey, my advice to you and many African Americans is this, man. Like that's a saying that if you're looking for a demon, you're gonna find it, and if you're looking for an angel, you're gonna find it. So my advice to you is this, man. When you go trying to connect with other group of people, look for the angels. Don't go look for the demons. Don't have it in your mind. Don't have it in your mind that you're looking for. Oh, they hate you already. Have it in your mind that among these group people, there are some good people. They're good people. So look for those good people. Have that in your mind that hey, I want to connect with these Kenyans or these Nigerians or these Ghanaians. I want have it in your mind that hey, they're gonna be negative people in a group and they're gonna be positive people. So focus your mind on the positive and look for the positive ones and connect with them. Don't connect with the negative people. It's kind of like me when I went to the United States. I use their wisdom. That's why I like Black Americans because I use their wisdom to know that hey, there's definitely good African Americans. So what I did was always connect myself with good Black Americans. That's why I'm someone that's always saying goodness about Black Americans because I have a lot of good Black American friends and I learned a lot of positive things about Black Americans. Most people don't even know because what they portray Black America, the media portray African Americans always negative. Until somebody get close to good Black Americans before they realize that Black Americans are not these negative people that the media has portrayed them to be. So I urge you to do the same thing when you're connecting with other group, whether it's Nigerians or anybody. Just be conscious that hey, you're looking for the good ones. Don't start hearing what someone's saying that oh, those Nigerians are bad, oh, they're scammers, and then when you go in at means you start looking for the scammers and the bad ones because you're gonna end up finding what you're looking for. So just it's good that you need to make that connection. It's very important. The black race, we need to come together. So that's why we good ones, we all need to come together and really let ourselves out of our situation. And for my Nigeria brothers, man, I love you now. No wallah. I just say me, I come, I just come talk. But anyway, Nigeria, that I need, please, your kingdom, you need to build it, man. Maybe you the one.
I am.
Hey, I'm ready to invest money. You're the prince of it. I'm ready. In fact, I might come to Nigeria in August. I might see you in August.
Come in August. Come in August.
Huh?
Hey, police brutality. You're breathing to the phone like you.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. All right, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, so maybe you can start your kingdom, build Black American community in your kingdom. Maybe you guys can help us unite Nigeria in the future. I'm just picturing, but hopefully that might be the case, you know. But
No. As a Black American, we come to Nigeria. We're Nigerians.
Yeah, come help us unite the tribes. You know, we need you guys. You know, we need you to come over there and help us unite us. You know. But
Yeah.
I'm ready to invest in your kingdom, man. Let me know.
Okay.
I'll send my son to Nigeria, and I'll tell him to marry one lady from 4 different tribes. Is that okay?
All right, man, you can do that. You got this legal, you know.
Cool. All right, go ahead. Police brutality.
Yeah, I just want to say this to the African Americans. For me, as a Nigerian, I've always looked up to you guys, you know, because of the good imagery I've always had from the media. Because I never looked at the bad side, because I knew that it was a good image I was always shown. And also for you meeting Nigerians, you know, as we say, not all kingfolk is skinfolk. You always want to meet the good ones. Okay. As my brother said, you don't want to meet the bad ones. It's the same thing everywhere. There's always a good egg and there's a bad egg. And Dinus has been saying this all the time in his channel. They're the good ones and they're the coons, you know.
Right.
So they are the straight ones and they're the Pookie and Ray Rays. Our people should understand that. So you can't just generalize and say that Nigerians are all bad, okay? And like as the title said, respect Nigerians like you respect those white Christian missionaries with Bibles.
The same respect.
So if you're not going to if you're not going to attack a police station where from a police prison where a brother, African American brother, was shot by a cracker cop, and you're not going to destroy that prison, then you know I think you have to respect us. Not all laws are bad. That's just my 2 cents.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Jason. Did you speak, Jason?
Yeah.
Go ahead and close out, brother.
Yeah, I'd just like to say it's an interesting conversation. I've been listening. I was listening to the first one you did earlier. Yeah, that was what I see is this: that there needs to be more communication and more platforms like this where we socialize. There is a big disconnect between Africa, the Caribbeans, the Americas. And when you actually get to speak to the people, they don't really have any negative thought about each other. But the people that travel, I feel it's them that formulate this negative view about each other. And not so much the people that are still in the Africas or the Caribbeans or the South America. But the people that have made contact, that have traveled out of their perspective zones and come to, let's say, America, they will now say a negative thing towards Americans from an African point of view, then Americans will take that upon that, oh, they're speaking for all Africans or all Nigerians or whatever it is, which is not usually the case. Because I found out from here, we used to have a problem between Caribbeans and Africans. So then it's only when I first traveled back to Nigeria and I asked them, what do you think about Jamaicans? What do you think about the Barbadians? They're like, oh no, they're Africans. That was it. They never really had anything negative to say. They never even thought like that. But it was us here that had that seed in our head that perpetuated that belief. So these are the things that will always break down the barriers and let you know that, you know, the people over there aren't thinking negative of you, but here in the melting pot where we're interacting, all of these negative stereotypes are coming out, and this is what we're making our judgment on. When, you know, sometimes you got to travel there to find out the truth. So yeah, that's what I'd say. It's been good hearing and talking to all of you. So yeah,
Absolutely.
that's
They
good.
should they should travel like diners and stop all this fighting and trolling. Jeez, like, oh god.
But hey, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you go to search for Uhuru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, family, peace.
Peace.
And Black Power.